Go ahead, little bitch, I expose you. And my ears to the streets, they don't know you. Had to blast on a bitch like I'm Goku. I put my hood on lift, just in case she do not stick to the script. Ha, pulling up, bending the strip. One way or another, I'm finding this bitch. Ha, you cannot hide from these hands. Got no permission, you talk too much shit. Ha, if you want chat it up, you better back it up, just like you do on a dick. Ha, I'm spitting that shit.
So how have you been during quarantine? Like, have you learned anything new about yourself?
Yes, I learned that number one, it don't matter how many years you got in with a nigga, he gonna act up. I learned that. I learned to have patience and to stay consistent. I learned that no matter what's going on in the world, I always have to learn how to adjust with what's going on and to learn to always stay relevant no matter what. And I learned to, get in my bag and don't get in my feelings. Period.
Yo, I love the fact you said that. I don't know. Wait, are you on TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw a lot of videos like that on TikTok, and it's cool when you're going through something to know other people can relate to you, and that's what I was gonna say too with your music. You definitely touch on relationships, and I think a lot of women can relate to that, and it's big boss, big vibe music. So we're gonna jump right into the EP, The Arrival. So I want to talk about the inspiration behind the cover, because even that was boss with the gold.
Yeah. Well, the inspiration behind the cover, I was really transpiring and really was entering like an alter ego of Oshun. I don't know, too many people know about Oshun. Well, Oshun is a goddess herself. So I was really channeling Oshun with the cover art. That's how you see the gold. I have some scorpions that's inside of the sand because I'm a Scorpio. I have some snakes because I feel like you always have to watch the snakes that's around you, and that's also me like channeling like Saint Martha. People know about that lifestyle. Yeah, so I just was letting people know that I'm here. I arrived, that me and my entities is here, and I'm not going nowhere. We got some rap game, and I'm here.
Hey, okay. So I love asking that question because you never can guess what it is. Like that's way deeper than what I would have even imagined. So that's dope.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So we got to start off with Project Baby. I like how you put a positive spin on it because you know how sometimes when people grow up in a project, people will be like, oh, say certain things or whatever. And you're like, no, I'm a project baby. Like you're confident, and I like your confidence, and the fact that you're showing other people you can make it, you could do whatever you want to do. So, how did your environment help shape you in any way? It doesn't have to be specifically music. You can talk about sports. You can talk about anything.
My environment, it taught me how to be tough. It taught me how to stay 10 toes down. Growing up in Brownsville, it shows you how to be a hustler because at the end of the day, we're all in the projects. We all need money. We all trying to make it out of the project. So it taught me how to hustle. It taught me to be a go-getter and to, if I have an ambition, to keep my mind to it and to make sure that I'm always focused and I always have tunnel vision. It also taught me that I have so many talents that, and so many people that's from certain projects or from the hood, they have so many talents. It's just the lack of resources. So it teaches you to go out there and get off your ass, to go get the resources and to network and to make sure that you set a boundary and you do something to create generational wealth for your family and where you came from, and that way your future or your kids in the future, they have something to look forward to or something to look back and say, well, if my mom came from here and she made it out of here, then I could do anything.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I like the fact that you talk about so many different things in your music that you didn't like switch up. I feel like you stayed consistent no matter what, no matter who you're around. So I think that's really dope of you.
Thank you.
Yes, and also I gotta talk about you giving back during the pandemic. You gave back over $30,000, and I like how you did it to your community and for your community because a lot of people think about the homeless, which is good, but they also think about people who are in other countries. So why was it important for you to give back to single parents?
It was very important to me because my mom was a single parent. My grandmother was a single parent. So many of the strong women in my family were single parents. And when it comes to going back to where I'm raised from, I come from Brownsville. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of moms that single parents out there. And there's also a couple of dads that single dads as well. It's very versatile with both ends. It's vice versa. And when you're raised in a community, in a tight community, it teaches you that the community is what helps build that child. Like, because if a parent don't have certain resources or don't have certain things to give that child, that's when the next door neighbor comes into hand. You know, if you need some sugar, if you need some eggs, if you need something to make a meal for your kids, you're not going to next to the neighbor's door. If you need help with certain things, you know, you go to the community center and they help you. So that was very important for me to give back to my community, especially to single moms and single dads, because especially during this pandemic, so many moms wasn't able to buy the baby for kids. They didn't buy the baby or do certain things for the kids, you know. With doing that, I also helped out a few parents that have children that's still like in the ICU or still in the hospital, because so many of these parents don't have the funds to pay for certain medicine for these kids to get better. So, you know, during this pandemic, you know, I feel like God blessed me enough, and I decided to just give back and to help my community, and hopefully in the future, sometimes if I need help, you know, the same people that I help will be around to help me.
That's so beautiful. And I like how you talked about helping children specifically, because I think a lot of people, they look at it like, oh, they're kids, they have nothing to worry about. But like a lot of people don't tap in to see if they're okay at home, if they're struggling in any way. So that's cool that you view things from like a different angle than many people see it. And then coming, you're welcome. And then coming from a place like Brooklyn, right? There's a lot of talent in Brooklyn. Always has been and continues to be the same way. Did you like go through anything growing up where you saw like celebs or artists or any stories like that growing up in Brownsville?
Yes, I have so many stories. Like, that's crazy. When I was really young, my grandmother used to take me on cruises every year. You know, she was one of those
Nice.
grandmothers that she's like, you know, you gotta get out the hood. I gotta show you around the world a little bit so you can see it's bigger than Brownsville. And she used to take me on cruises, and as we would travel, you know, I was one of those kids that I was seeing at the airport, so end up getting us first class tickets. You know, when I was really young, I ended up meeting Lil Wayne, and my grandmother didn't even know who he was, and I was like, Grandma, like that's a rapper, like that's Lil Wayne. And she ended up getting me to meet Lil Wayne. I met Kyla Pratt. Like, I met so many celebrities growing up, and then as I transitioned throughout life, you know, I entered college. I was playing basketball. That's how I met a lot of the NBA players that I know, and a lot of the overseas players that I know. Um, I transpired. I ended up entering the strip club. And that's how I met so many celebrities like that. So yeah, as time went on, I just, you know, I met so many celebrities, and you know, now I got all this ass and titties. You know, these celebrities just be pulling up in my DM. You know, so you know, I guess
Yes.
I was born for this. You know.
From the beginning. That's so crazy. But wait, we gotta go back. Look, I want to talk a little bit about Little Wade. Like, what were you getting on a plane? I mean, not a plane, but
Yes,
were you
I was
boarding?
in the airport coming back from Miami, because when you on a cruise, the boat is docked in Miami, and
Mm,
I was in the airport coming back, and matter of fact, no, it wasn't Miami, it was Puerto Rico. It was Puerto
nice.
Rico, and I was coming back, and I was super young. I probably was about 10 years old, and we was walking through the airport, and my grandmother was like, "Who is this guy that everybody's going crazy over? Like, he don't look that good. Like, so we in the store." And as we in the store, I see him and his security guards walk by, and I'm telling my grandmother, I'm like, "That's Little Wayne. That's Little Wayne." And she like, "That's Little who?" I'm like, "That's Little Wayne, Grandma." She like, "You want to meet him?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So she goes up to the security guards. My grandmother a little tough thing. She goes up to the security guards, and she like, "Excuse me, my granddaughter want to take a picture with him. I don't know who he is, but my granddaughter loves him. She wants to take a picture with him." So the security guards looked at my grandmother and was like, "Okay," like brushed past everybody, because Lil Wayne wasn't taking no pictures with anybody. He wasn't doing any type of media, nothing in the airport that day. I would never forget it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And my grandmother ended up allowing me to get through his security, and I got a picture with Lil Wayne and everything. So I wouldn't forget that. It was amazing. It was amazing around that time.
That is so dope because that's very, very rare. Like, and I don't understand that. Like, even in New York City, people be like, "Oh, I just saw A Boogie, I just saw Jay Z or whatever," and I'm like, "How? I'm always in the city. I don't see nobody. Like, very rarely, unless I'm going to an event."
Go to your cage. Hmm.
So that is so cool. I love how you have stories like that. And I be knowing, like, low key, I be knowing. I'm like, she had to. Shout out to Melrose Mike. He was like Carter 2 or Carter 3.
That was before the Carters even came out. That was like around, right, probably around the time right before the Carter dropped. It was like before that. It was around the time when it was like he was still coming up. This was before he even met Nicki and everything. It was like the early ages of Lil Wayne, like when Lil Wayne was looking a little ratchet and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that time. So yeah.
Yo, that's so cool. So, I've seen you perform, and you always command the attention of the audience, which is really dope, and you just look so comfortable up there. So I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest crowd you've performed in front of, and what does it feel like for you? Is it a rush? Is it comfort?
The biggest crowd I performed for, I would say it was 1,000 people. And before I get ready to go on the stage, I always prep myself. As I'm getting ready to make my way to a performance, I always premeditate the way the performance is gonna go beforehand. I don't never know what songs I'm about to perform. I wait until I get there and I scope out the crowd. I scope out all the rest of the artists that's performing and see what the crowd is fucking with, what they not fucking with. Are they fucking with hood shit? Are they fucking with ass shaking shit? I figure out the crowd first. And then I do a little prayer before I go up on stage. I pray to all of the ancestors that, wish me good and want to see me do good. I pray to like all of the gods and the goddesses that's out here. I pray to God, I pray to Jesus. And I just ask for the confidence. And I ask that once I go on stage, I will know the right things to say. And then I get the little jitters. Sometimes I gotta go take a shit or something. It really depends. Yeah, it really depends.
Real.
But after I do that and I get all the nervousness out of my system, I prep myself. Like I don't want nobody to talk to me around that time. Like I don't allow anybody to talk to me. If you're gonna roll me a blunt, roll me a blunt. If you're gonna give me a shot of liquor, give me a shot. But don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about anything. Don't talk to me. And then as I get ready to go on stage, it's just like everything just gets shaken off, and I just do what I'm came here to do. I grab the crowd's attention, and I rock the mic, I shake it, and that's it. It's done for after that. R.I.P. to the bitch that's gonna perform after me because I'm violating the stage.
Yes, no, that's what's up. Because I definitely feel that energy when you go up there. It's like you're focused, you know what you're here to do, and like you go. So that's really awesome, and I like that you're super honest. So I was actually gonna ask you. So do you actually have like a certain religion at all, or is it just you pray to kind of more of like the
I'm
goddesses?
Christian. I'm
Okay.
Christian, but I'm also not one of those Christians that feel like there's no other religion out there. You can't pray to any other entity. Because I've been through some things, and especially with being in this music industry, it's a lot of dark spirits, it's a lot of dark souls, and it's a lot of evil people that try to attach dark things to you. So I make sure I clean my aura. I make sure my energy is always positive. I make sure I keep my sage, my holy water, my flow of the water. So I'm very religious. But if I had to choose a religion, I would say Christian. But I also know there's other gods, there's other goddesses out there. I know that the Bible is not the only man-made thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot out there, and that's what It's hard to explain, but I'm Christian.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you. Nah, that's dope though. I appreciate you for even mentioning like your process before you go on stage, because I mean it's hard, especially 1,000 people. Like I don't
I'm
know.
trying to
That's
perform
tough.
for more. I'm trying to perform for like 50,000, 100,000. I'm trying to sell out arenas. I'm trying to
Yes.
be out there. I'm trying to be all in popping. Like, so that ain't
Nah.
nothing. That's what I always tell myself too before I'm about to perform. I'll be like, in my mind, I'll be like, you nervous for 1,000 people, for 400 people, 500 people? Girl, you about to be somewhere with 40,000 plus people. You better shake this shit off and do what you came here to do. So
Nah,
I put
that's
the
dope.
battery in my own back, kind of.
Yeah, I say like a lot of the stuff has to do with your mental. And because I've seen you like perform and you're consistent, right, you're definitely going to do that. So that's pretty exciting. Once this pandemic ends, because this pandemic is so long, I'm like, how are
Yes.
we in August? Like, it's almost September.
It went by super fast though.
Right, I'm so confused. I'm like, this is the quickest year ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally scary. And it's funny because you mentioned playing basketball, and that was actually one of my other questions for you. Was it difficult transitioning from the crowd, like basketball, when you're on the court? I mean, I don't really play sports, so please put me on. But I look at it like you're focused on the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like y'all probably don't even pay attention to the court, to the audience. You just pay attention to the ball and getting the ball in and stuff like that. So was it hard for you to transition to actually being on the stage now, where everybody is staring at you?
I would say it's kind of similar. You know, I never really thought about it like that. But it's kind of similar because when I was on a court and I was playing in college, you know, it was certain schools we'll go to and it was large amount of crowds. So I would say it's kind of similar. It's just a little more different, I would say, because when you're playing basketball, the crowd is yelling at you. Like they trying to fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? They trying to, I mean, they came here to cheer most likely for the other team, especially if you're not at home base. So they trying to fuck you up. They trying to violate. They trying to shoot air balls. They trying to focus. They trying to mess you up. So, and then when you're performing, it's like the crowd is more so cheering for you. So it's a little different, but it's more similar when it comes to like all of the eyes, things and things like that. It's the same thing.
Wow, that is so cool. I was not expecting that answer. That's why I was like, I gotta ask you that because I wouldn't know from either end, to be honest. So my favorite record on the EP is Trust Nobody.
Okay.
And I'm gonna talk about this one lyric. I'm gonna level up, find another man that make double your figures. And I really like that line because it had me laughing. Exactly. Your whole vibe was period. Yes. And I feel like as women, we really do focus on leveling up. Like once you break our hearts, it's like, okay, wait, what would we doing? How do we do better? So I want to ask you, in what way, you don't have to talk about a relationship if you don't want to, but in what way have you gone through a hardship and then you ended up leveling up from it?
Any hardship I went through, I feel like I leveled up. You know, before I met Swift on Demand, I was in a very abusive relationship. You know, he was mentally abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive, and just draining. Like he was super draining. You know what I'm saying? And I was engaged to him, so he was just like super draining. When I met Swift, and me and Swift ended up getting into a relationship, I felt like it was a lot of emotions that I had from my previous relationship, as far as him as well, because we both was like each other rebounds, I would say, sort of, and it was a lot of things that, you know, I would take out in Swift. So I feel like with me getting with Swift, I wouldn't even say that it was a level up, because at the end of the day, Swift was on a whole different level than that ex nigga was. Like Swift is 100% different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm in love with Swift, you know. So it was different. It was a mental level up. You know, it was a level up of me being with a man that, you know, he'll kiss me when I'm asleep, and when I wake up, ask me what I want for breakfast. You know, it was that type of level up. It was the comfortability level up. It was the having to be more patient, having to be a little more softer, because when you come out of an abusive relationship, a lot of that trauma that you dealt with, it still sticks with you. You know, if you want to do get into an argument and, you know, you used to your past relationship, you used to doing get into an argument and he's punching in your face. You know, when you meet this new guy and he's a little soft, he's a little more, you know, calm. When y'all get into an argument, the first thing you're doing is being so defensive and you're ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn to transition and to change certain things about myself when I was getting with Swift, you know. So I would feel like that was overall with the level up, because I'm teaching myself how to be more kind, I'm teaching myself how to be more soft, I'm teaching myself certain things. So that alone was a super level up.
Wow, and that's a beautiful, and I commend you for even talking about situations like that because it is hard to go through and even harder to get out of. So I feel like a lot of women could benefit from hearing the fact that you went through it, thank God survived it, and now you found somebody who is there for you and you're in like a really good, healthy relationship. So
I
that's
did.
amazing.
I did, girl. We're not together no more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like not, you know what's crazy? Because I was listening to the music too, and I was trying to connect. But then I try not to look into lyrics too, because a lot of artists they also write about what their friends go through or like family and stuff like that. So yeah, but I'm sorry to hear that. Like for
It's
real.
okay, girl. It's okay. If it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. That's another thing I always wanted to know. For you, when you write your lyrics, are you drawing inspiration from strictly your life so far, or are you pulling from like I don't know, movies, news, everything like that?
Well, so far I've been strictly talking about my life. And sometimes, like, if I need like an extra little punchline or something, I think about, a movie or anything like that. But I've never sat back and just wrote a song that haven't been really strictly talking about myself yet. So I feel like I have so much to get out. And then once I feel like I'm done with getting out certain things that I have to get out, then I would inspire to certain things. But I definitely add certain punchlines or connect certain bars with the other things that I help the song become a masterpiece.
Okay, that's what's up. I love that. So, we got to get into porn star dreams, right? So that's a very raw song. But then I like in the end you say it was all in his dreams. So what was your inspiration behind creating this? Did you get like a DM from somebody that inspired this? I was like, wait, hold on. I know there got to be a backstory to this because she was basically like, this ain't really happened.
Basically, it was some dude that plays in the NBA, and he was like on my body, on my body, on my body, right? Go to your cage. And he was just like super on my body, on my body, on my body, right? And I used to deal with this dude back in the days or whatever. And when I was writing Porn Star Dreams, I ended up writing that song. I woke up out of my sleep. Like those bars, I wrote the song before I even had a beat to that song. Those bars, I was actually asleep, and I woke up and I just started writing it. Towards the end, when I was like, it was all just a dream, it's because this dude that was in the NBA, like, he just kept hitting me up, hitting me up, hitting me up. And I'm like, sweetheart, I'm in a relationship, right? Like, you had your time. Like, you had your chance. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of that, I kind of threw a little shot. Like, it was all just a dream because at the end of the day, I know he's still dreaming about me. Like, I know what's up. Like, I know he's dreaming about me. But overall, that song alone, I wrote it before I even found the beat. I ended up finding a beat later on, after the lyrics were done on YouTube, and with the beat and put it out.
That's so dope. And that's funny that you put it like that. Like now that I have the backstory, it's all connecting and I love it. I love it. See, that's the thing. We see with lyrics, they're valid, but there's always a deeper story. So that's so cool. And that's another thing too. Did you have any hesitation when it came to writing it? Because it was really like detailed.
I wouldn't say I had any hesitation because around the time when I wrote that song, I had a lot of inspiration because me and Swift was just like, we was fucking like getting booms, like back to back to back to back to back. So, and the dick was just getting better and better and better for some reason. I don't know, like we fell back in love or whatever. And so I had a lot of inspiration. So I was just super freaky and super horny and super ready to speak my mind. So I had a lot of inspiration behind that song. So it was very fluent. It was very a 1, 2, 3 song. There wasn't no hesitation with that song, and it came together. So I'm happy.
That's funny. Yeah, that you know what? So I try to anticipate answers sometimes, and I was like, "What if she say?" It's funny. I thought about you saying that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on WAP? Because I feel like it would be in the same category in a sense.
Yeah, I feel like WAP is a really dope song. It's cool, So,
Okay, you rock with it. So, if they was asking for a new feature, you would be on there.
probably.
Yeah, you'd totally be down. Word. Well, they are like really successful, so that makes sense. But it was interesting because I just heard so much feedback about the record, like half good, half bad. It was like one tweet will be like, "I love the song," the next tweet will be like, "How dare they?" And it was like back and forth, back and forth. So
people just be
that's
hating.
why.
People just be hating. If a song is good, it's good. Especially if the visual is topping it, then it's super dope. And that visual definitely took that song 10 times further. And that's why they dropped the visual with the audio, because they knew what they were doing. The song is dope. People just be hating. People be mad about bitches talking about their pussy for some reason, but niggas can talk about their dicks all day long.
They do. They do. That is a fact. Shout out to everybody in the live. Shout out Destiny, Chad, everybody. So, now, you created music videos. So, speaking of music videos, you created music videos for Friends, Pimp. I even saw one for 60 Seconds. What made you want to create a video for Friends? Which I really liked, by the way. Like, those editing effects was fire. The whole TV channel. I was like, okay, I like that.
Thank you. For Friends, Friends video, it came about with me just being aggravated of me not having a visual out for so long. Like, that's how Friends came about. And I had the money at the time. I was like, fuck it, put this bag. I think I spent like $3,000 on this video. The outfits, the car, booking the spaces, paying the video out for like getting a rental, because I also had to get a rental to travel around. Because at the time I didn't even have a car. So I spent about $3,000 for a friend's video, and then I also did a campaign on it for it to get promotion for marketing. You know, I also paid for marketing for that song, and I also got it on the radio. It's been on the radio ever since the song dropped. So that song, it was just me being super aggravated and being super frustrated with myself and feeling like I needed something to get to the next level, and I was super agitated with myself because I felt like I'm sitting back and I'm waiting for an investor. I'm waiting for a label to sign me. I'm waiting for management. I'm waiting for all of these things. And if I felt like if I don't do something right now in my career, I'm not gonna go anywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the way that I felt when I was shooting this video, or before I even shot the video. I was preparing the whole rollout plan for it. I was super aggravated. Like I was so aggravated. Like that video, you can even tell, but I was so aggravated. I was so mad at myself because I felt like I was lacking. I felt like I wasn't really doing shit with my life. I felt like my music career wasn't going anywhere. So that video was more so of me proving to myself that I could do it, and me proving to the viewers that I got what it takes for me to still be here, no matter what. You know, I don't have to need an investor. I don't need a label. I don't need this. I don't need that. Yes, it'll be great because I can get to the next level, but I'm gonna do what the fuck I could do for myself now more than anything. So that video was really me broadcasting and showing the people that I'm here. I'm about to level up. This is a different visual. It's more cinematic. It's more industry, and you're gonna see that Big Goddess is here. You know. So.
That's cool that you said that, because I think that's the push that every artist literally has to have, like internally. That's that drive that makes them so successful. And it's always like the harder you are on yourself, the more you produce. But then, you know, it's also like hard because you also got to make sure your mind doesn't get the best of you. Because you
Yeah.
can feel that way. Meanwhile, your fans could be like, no, you just dropped the EP. Like, what are you talking about? So it's
Yeah.
always about the person, like how you interpret it. What's your sign?
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh yeah, you did say Scorpio. Yeah, I'm like, you know why? Because there's a few people that I know that have that same characteristic trait, and I was like, no, I don't think she's that. I was thinking for a second, like, are you a Sag? But then,
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
yeah, because I'm a Sag, and that's like something I would totally like say and think. That's so funny. So you got that before. I love it. So what about Pimp? Because Pimp, you did like a lot of different scenes. A lot. So I would love you to break that down, because it's like you was in a chair. It's like you was talking to a therapist, but the therapist is you. It's like you had different personas going on there. So I'm like, wait, is she pimping different types? Like get into that visual for me.
Pimp was a little easier for me because once I did Friends video, I knew what to expect. You know, I knew what to expect when your level went up, and you have to be on a certain caliber now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So with Pimp video, it was a little more easy. I knew I needed 2 or more scenes, this, that, and the third. I knew I always wanted to do a psychiatrist scene, and I knew because of Pimp, I needed to look like a pimp. I needed to look like a dominatrix. I needed to look real dominant and show that side of me. So Pimp was pretty easy. It was easy to get the guys because, you know, I make a post on Instagram and the fellas just went crazy. I had my little sister being my little stunt double for Pimp. That's how we was able to get both of the scenes, psychiatrist and everything. It was pretty dope. It was pretty easy, and I'm glad that it came out the way that I expected it to. I'm glad that it came out. Like all of the effort and all of the stress that I put into it, it really came out. So I was pretty happy about it, and I'm still excited about it because everybody that watches it, they like, yo, like that video is crazy. Like that's like you got a label behind you. So I'm happy that people think of that video. They think so highly of it.
Yeah, no, you definitely put in a lot of work into that video, because I was like, there's different vibes. Like every single clip is a whole different vibe, which is pretty cool. And I don't think people understand too, like how hard it is to switch into outfits over and over and over again.
Yes. Oh, yes. Jesus Christ. Yes. It was super crazy. And then I don't know if you keep the visual, but we had a beach visual when I was dressed up as a goddess and everything. And
At
it had
night.
fire in the background. And that was super aggravating because like my manager at the time and Swift at the time, they was all like running from garbage can to garbage can to light the flames on fire, and then we had to hurry up. We shot that beach scene in like 10 minutes because we had to hurry up and leave off the beach because the fire department ended up coming because there was so much smoke in the sky, so we had to end up running. I left my slippers on the beach. We lost some pieces for the outfit. It was super crazy because we had to go to jail, girl. We had to go, but I'm glad it came out. It was worth it. It was worth it. Breaking the rules is worth
Yes.
it sometimes.
Yeah, no cap. That video was hard, and I was sitting there looking. I'm like, at night too. Like that's very exotic. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole look, and it's cool because it's like you brought the Arrival cover. You brought it
Yeah.
to life in that
Mm-hmm.
scene. So that was dope. And yes, everybody's like, you're great. Don't worry about it. You're gonna make it. Like these comments are like really valid.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right, so we're gonna get into Big Goddess V1 a little bit, right? So, how did your features come about with Sluggo the Don and Don't Kill Me, but Reese?
Yeah. Greasy.
Oh, okay, lit. Okay. So, how do you go about with your
Sluggo.
features?
Sluggo, that's gang. Like, that's my motherfucking brother. He's always around. And what happened was, because Sluggo's been around us now, I would say going on 2 years. We met Sluggo like 2 years ago, a summertime. Swift, I ended up linking up with him because I think Sluggo had DM'd Swift on Instagram or something like that. And was telling Swift like he wanted to work with him or whatever. So Swift was telling me about Sluggo, like, yo, I met this dude. He's from these projects over here in Queens, blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, me. I don't like meeting people. So I let Swift fill Sluggo out for probably about a week or two before I actually met Sluggo. And then Sluggo ended up coming to the apartment one day to record and stuff like that. And that's how I ended up me and Sluggo. And me and Sluggo just built like our own bond, our own type chemistry. That song came about. It was actually last minute. Like we recorded that song and that video like 4 o'clock early a Tuesday morning. Like that song was just like it was super random, because I felt like Sluggo was around us for a little while, for a little minute. He was around us enough for me to put him on a song. That's the way that I felt. I felt like he was around us enough, and he showed his loyalty enough for me to be like, "Yo, bro, come on, I want to put you on my tape." And he was super honored. Like he was super like, "You sure, okay, Goddess? Like me, you want me on your tape?" I'm like, yeah, bro, come on, let's do it. He was sick when he recorded that song too. He was in my living room. He fell asleep on my floor. You know when you sick sometimes you need to lay on the floor to collect
Yeah.
air. So he fell asleep on my floor. We ended up recording the song at like 2 a.m. I recorded my verse, I did everything. And Sluggo ended up waking at like 4 a.m., waking up at like 4 a.m. and recorded his verse. I ended up going in the room, I went to sleep. He recorded his verse like 4 a.m. Then Swift, after he recorded, Swift ended up driving him home. Swift came back to the crib at like 6 a.m., mixed the verse down. So that was done by 7, 8 a.m. Then we went out, we ran around, we bought the outfits and everything that we needed to buy for the video, and we ended up shooting the video like 3 o'clock that afternoon. So it was like super, super fast, but it was definitely worth it. And I fucking love that song and that video. It was worth it. As far as Reese wasn't really an artist. He was my cameraman at the time, and we always felt like Reese had a dope voice. So I ended up recording a song for Big Track, and Reese was here in the crib, and I just decided like, yo, let Reese get on this. And I went in the room and I went to sleep, and when I woke up, the song was done. So that was super dope, because that was Reese. Me releasing Big Track is the first song that Reese ever put out. So it was dope for him to be the debut. So it was dope.
Nah, that's so fire. I like the way that your features came about. So, like, what about if somebody's like, all right, I want to pay you a certain amount of money to be a feature? Like, what is your process? Do you
Well,
like,
basically, I let them know. I give them my payment options, and I tell them once they send the payment, screenshot it, DM it to me for confirmation, because I love everybody to make sure they money feels safe. DM me for confirmation. Once they DM me with it for confirmation, they just send me the open verse. They have 2 to 3 weeks to send me an open verse, and once they send me the open verse, I send it back to them, and then done right there, boom.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm asking because, like, a lot of people, like, because I know a lot of artists, they're like, do we DM the artist? And then, like, based off of your response, I was like, oh, wait, she may not even take it. She may just be like, I got to mess with you. So that's cool that you still give people a chance, like, if they want features and stuff,
Yeah.
that it's still a possibility. Okay. That's what's up. All right. So this one it's a New York based question, right? So in 60 seconds, you said, and I'm not gonna curse, but she was like, and F your red bottoms because I'm from New York and we stomp these out in our Timberlands, which
Period.
was really like it was so true to the New York lifestyle. You know, it's like I don't know. I'm from New York, so I don't know. I guess people wear Timberlands everywhere, but it's a certain thing about Timberlands in New York. So, what are three things you really love about being in New York and being from New York?
One thing I really love about being from New York, I love our accent. I love I love how aggressive we are. And I love the way the wintertime snow just fall on the ground with my Timbs.
That's true. That's a fact. Everybody got that. It's like you wear a hoodie, you wear some jeans, you wear some Timbs. It's like everybody. It's that
Period.
look exactly. So, I
Go to
love
skate.
I love everybody in the comment section because somebody had just listed their favorite songs. And my next question actually is, what is your favorite record on Big Goddess V1 and why?
I feel like all of the songs are my favorites, but for Big Goddess V1. Now, if you had to ask me about the arrival, I could choose a song or two. But Big Goddess V1, I love that mixtape, that EP, because number one, before I released that EP, it was so highly anticipated because all of those songs, I was performing those songs for like a year. You know, my Instagram was down for 10 months, and the whole 10 months I was grinding and I was just performing those songs. I wasn't releasing any music. I just was performing those songs. So the viewers were so used to hearing those songs, but they wanted to hear it in their own circumference. They wanted to hear it in their own apartment, in their own house, in their own cars. You know what I'm saying? So once I actually released that, so many people was able to bump it. So I love all of the songs off of that because I feel like all of the songs off of that EP is so pretty. And Swift and Man produced every song off that EP. So I love all of those songs. I love all of those songs.
Okay, but you did say you could pick one or two off the arrival. So, I'm gonna take that answer. I would love to know what your favorite songs are.
Off of the Rival, I would take Project Baby and I'll take Trust Nobody.
Okay, I had a feeling Trust Nobody was definitely there. That's dope. Do you have like a reason for why those two or?
For Project Baby, I really love that song because it talks about it's based off of Brownsville. You know, I'm
Yes.
talking about the '90s. I'm talking about Free GS9. And then I'm talking about my best friend that's locked up with 22 years for life. Her name is Susie. So I'm talking about being a Project Baby. I'm talking about, and then that's where it transpired into Friends because in Friends I say I'm a Project Baby, no Kodak. You know. So Project Baby it surrounds itself around me. And then I'm also the cadence that I'm doing on that track is for Pop Smoke, because Pop Smoke is playing the flute and he's Crip. So it just surrounds itself around Big Goddess. It's just so me. So I really love Project Baby. And I recorded that song when I didn't have no voice. Like my voice was shot when I recorded that song. So it showed me that when I don't have a voice, I can still push through it and the viewers can still like it. So I really love that song.
No, that's what's up. It's
I'm
so.
Woo. I'm Woo.
Oh,
We
you
started
are
Woo.
okay.
Brownsville's what started Woo. Pop
Okay,
Smoke
I
was
love
jacking
it.
our shit. He bought the viewers and bought it globally and allowed it to be more commercial. But that's us. Woo is Brownsville. That's us.
Gotcha. Thank you for breaking it down. It's tough. If you're not from Brooklyn, it's very confusing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, I try to catch on, but okay, that's cool. It kind of breaks it down a little bit for me so I could understand, everything about like Brooklyn a little bit. But you guys have like so much talent. It amazes me.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So, I want to go back a little bit to like Real G's because that was my favorite on Big Goddess V1. So I wrap her up and do her like a Cuban link. I choke her. I was like, that was interesting because it made you think. It was like, oh, I caught that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I love lyrics that be like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that. So where do you feel like you make your best lyrics?
Well, the whole Big Goddess V1, all of those lyrics, I wrote them in the house. Lately, like my new EP I'm about to drop in September, I've been in the studio a lot lately, because as I mentioned before, me and Swift on Demand, we going through complicated times. So I really haven't had time to record in the house because he was the main reason up to me recording in the house because he was recording it, and not having that access to record in the house, yeah, it sucks, so I have to go to the studio and I have to catch a vibe now instead of me just being in the house and smoking some weed or whatever and then I'm recording. So it's a bit different. Um, so yeah, it's a little different. But Real G, the lyrics to that song was written for about a year because I wrote the lyrics to that song when my page was deleted at the time, and I wrote the lyrics to that song in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta, and I actually got the cadence of that song from a Gucci Mane song. That song is me showing love to Gucci Mane. I did it throughout the whole song. I did Gucci Mane flow. The remake of the beat is from an old Gucci Mane beat. So like even the hook, it's from a song called "Vet Pass By" from Gucci Mane. Like, even the hook, the whole cadence is from Gucci Mane. So that was more so what I wrapped the idea of that song behind, was really broadcasting Gucci and showing love to Gucci.
Wow, that's super dope. I would have never expected you to say Gucci Mane, to be honest with you. So, who is in your top 5?
Biggie, Fabulous, Jadakiss, Jay-Z, and Nas.
Okay, that's the fastest anybody has ever answered that question. That's super dope to me. I love how you already had it on deck. All right, awesome. So, for you, throughout the years, has that ever changed for you, or it always just stayed what it was?
Throughout the years, my top 5 has always stayed what it was, but sometimes I don't listen to them as much as I used to. But I would say it always stayed because at the end of the day, they talk about what I'm going through now. They talked about what I was going through before. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've always been in the street since I was a good girl. So what they talk about is the street life, and they talk about leveling up. So now, the older I get, I sit back and I listen to all the old songs that I used to compare it a certain type of way or take it a certain type of way. And now that I'm growing and I'm glowing and I'm learning about certain things, I take it differently now. Now I hear the same message, but I take it differently. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely still helps me to this day. No matter how many songs I replay or heard it 1,000 times, I take it differently each time.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just saying that to somebody the other day. I'm like, now if I listen to Mary J. Blige, if I watch Moesha, like all of that, it clicks different. It's like you can listen to relationship music when you're young, but if you haven't been in a relationship, it's just like, oh, let me see if I can hit the note. But yeah, everything hit different when you get older. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of weird at the same time. So the next question, it's about Don't Ask. So first of all, I really got to find out, Don't Ask, what made you release this song?
I actually recorded and released that song once me and Swift first broke up. Because I released it in July. Me and Swift broke up around July 4th weekend. And that whole song was motivation behind the breakup. Because once we broke up, a lot of people was asking questions. And I just felt like, just don't ask me about a nigga that I used to fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't ask. I was just aggravated at the time. And yeah, that was me letting off pain and emotions through my music. So that's what it released that.
And it's very interesting because it's hard to go through, but it's like that makes really great music in a weird way, and I can't understand why that is. But even I feel like with interviews with Mary and all of them, they talk about it too. It's like they had to go through something to create certain type of music. But that's dope that you put a song out there for a lot of people to relate to, and you have all everybody supporting you too in the comments, which is dope. Like, I love your followers and your supporters, to be honest. I'm like, they're a vibe. Yes, you're so welcome. So how would you sum up K Goddess as an artist in one sentence?
K Goddess is an authentic rapper. When you listen to K Goddess music, you could definitely relate to her. If you can't relate to her, you could definitely relate to her through your family members or anybody that's told you stories. K Goddess is very gritty. She's a very tough and stern female that comes from a hood that she had to learn to be tough and learn to stay 10 toes down. But she also has a soft side, and she don't like showing her soft side because if she does, people take advantage and has to make her get on her back. So that's the way that sums up K Goddess right there. You know, when you hear songs like Trust Nobody, no, I was taken advantage of because I was soft at one time and point in my life. And then when you hear turn up songs like Real G's or Run Down, that's the aggravated side of K Goddess, and the aggression side, and the angry side, and the don't play with me because I'll beat your mother up side. So yeah, you know, it's two sides to every
Hmm.
story, and with K Goddess, you just never know which one you're gonna get. So that's the amazing part about it. That's the part that makes you sit back and think like, I wonder what I'm gonna get from this girl. I wonder what she's going through today because she's gonna tell us in her music. So you could definitely relate, and it's definitely not boring. Um, it's gonna keep you on your toes. It's gonna keep you dancing. It's gonna keep you bumping. And you might cry a little bit, but after you find that Honda or that Bentley, you're gonna wipe your tears and you're gonna go shoot a club up. So it's good, sis.
Yes, yes, I love it. Thank you for being so authentic and just speaking about everything and not holding back. I definitely appreciate that from you and being open and your time, for coming through and talking about so much.
K Goddess official on all social media platforms. I'm here. The booking bitch anyhow. The only goddess in the rap game. If they don't pass the baton, I'm taking it. Cause I'm from New York, we storm bitches out on our Timberlands. Bow. Facts.
Wow, that was the best exit I've ever heard. Like on
Facts.
Quarantine Time Talk. Yes, thank